Mike, let me start with you because Miri Regev really digging in her heels, saying that trying to move the game to Jerusalem was the right thing. She's defending that decision, but now she's facing, I understand, an investigation from the state comptroller over the whole debacle. What does it mean?
The investigation centers around not so much her desire to move the match from Haifa to Jerusalem, but what she did in order to facilitate that. Millions of dollars in government money going to the organizers of the event in Argentina in order to make that transfer happen. And what did she ask in return as well? The allegations are she asked for a photo opportunity with Messi and at the Western Wall, photo opportunities. Who knows what else she may have asked for. So the State Control Committee is looking into right now whether she used government money in order to basically produce a publicity campaign
and
for herself.
Perhaps her own political gain.
Exactly. Publicity campaign, not for Jerusalem. That'd be okay. The government does that all the time with government money. But did she do it for herself to improve her image?
So are right-wing lawmakers, is the Likud party still circling the wagons defending her? Are there some cracks now that people are attacking her decision?
Most of the Likudniks I spoke with at the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, yesterday said, we have to keep pressing for Jerusalem. It needs to be the center of attention. We can't be deterred by these threats. Were they defending Regev specifically? No. And the problem now is that there is a miscommunication of sorts between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his culture minister, Miri Regev. Netanyahu at a press conference yesterday went on the record as saying, I had nothing to do with asking the match to be moved.
Yeah, it was okay that it was asked to be moved, but it wasn't my call.
It wasn't my call. Meanwhile, there's a letter out there that was produced from Benjamin Netanyahu that's now on the record that shows that he sent a letter to the Argentine Federation saying, I can't wait to welcome you to Jerusalem. Miri Regev, meanwhile, saying it was Benjamin Netanyahu. I worked with him. So there seems to be some lack of consistency there.
All right. Meanwhile, now Eurovision finds itself in the spotlight. The idea that this could be forcibly moved from Jerusalem, where Miri Regev wants the Eurovision to take place. Asher, what right does the Eurovision have for a winning country, a host country, to take the contest away from the venue they wanted to be in?
Well, this all comes down to the European Broadcast Union. That's the union that controls the entire Eurovision event and decides which countries in and what they do. But it would be breaking with decades of precedent to not allow a host country to determine where this event is going to be held. Now, Miri Regev, again, doubling down on these sort of promotions for Jerusalem, has come out today saying if the Eurovision Song Contest is not going to be held in Jerusalem, then Israel doesn't want to host it at all.
And Jerusalem's held it twice before. This is, of course, before the BDS movement existed. But there are now calls from some nations to boycott it, not to go next year.
Exactly right. We've got calls coming from Ireland, Iceland, Sweden. We've got groups in the UK coming out, potentially calling for a boycott. And then, of course, Cyprus, although their motives might be a little ulterior, as if Israel weren't to host it, Cyprus as the second place getters would probably host it.
Okay, Mike.
Important to note, Miri Regev does not have final control. She can only make a recommendation. Communications Minister Ayub Karo, who works with the television network, the EBU, came out today and said, you know what? I'm not touching this thing. The EBU has control. Politics is not going to be involved, so I think at least he is learning his lesson.
Usher, some nations now, at least there's fans circulating boycott letters and petitions. You know, it's now back in the public eye that this will be in Jerusalem. But in years past, Eurovision has dealt with political scandals. I mean, it's obviously, in some level, this is a political show to have the contest.
Absolutely right. As recently as 2017 in Ukraine, you had Russia being banned, Russia's guests being banned from participating.
Over the Crimea annexation.
Over the Crimea annexation, exactly right. Back in 2012 in Azerbaijan, you had a contest held in a country with serious human rights violations concerns. Back in 2009, it was held in Russia, in which Georgia held controversial songs. Respect for LGBT rights in Russia was a deep concern. I mean, there have been many political concerns in the past, and ultimately the contest has normally gone ahead in the country where the winner was from the previous years.